Hello everyone, this is High Priestess Tana, and thank you for tuning into Tana Temple Healing Works. But I am back with another video, and this time I'm coming with a new series regarding spooky tales from the state of Michigan. That's the state where I reside, y'all. Just in case if y'all don't know, and if you're new to this channel, I would like to share my story about haunted lighthouses in Michigan. So let's get started, shall we? I hope you enjoy. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the spiritual meaning behind a lighthouse. A lighthouse, in spiritual terms, often symbolizes guidance, hope, and resilience. It also represents a beacon of light, illuminating the path through darkness, both literally for sailors and metaphorically for individuals navigating life's challenges. Lighthouses can also signify enlightenment, wisdom, and a pursuit of self actualization. It also can represent guidance and hope, enlightenment and wisdom, strength and resilience, protection and safety, connection to the divine, and individual consciousness. So, just to give you a brief overview of what a lighthouse is. Now, studies show that there are approximately 129 lighthouses in the state of Michigan. And also, if you don't know much about Michigan, you know that there are two different peninsulas, the upper and the lower peninsula. I'm located in the lower peninsula, which is the mid. So it's the mid. And then we have the upper peninsula, which is shaped like a rabbit. Some people say that it's shaped like a rabbit. But most of the lighthouses are actually surrounded around the mid part, which is the lower peninsula. It looks like that's where the majority of them are located. So yeah, it's very interesting. But I wanted to talk about that. And also, if you don't know already, we have the Great Lakes of Michigan. Those Great Lakes include Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. So, 4 to 5 Great Lakes, the 4 Great Lakes that actually borders Michigan is Superior, Michigan, Huron, and Erie. And Lake Ontario is the fifth Great Lake, sorry, and it does not border Michigan. So, just to let you know about that aspect. Now we're going to tap into talk about lighthouses in general, and why they are considered the guardians of the Great Lakes. So pretty much, just to give you a brief background about lighthouses, is that they do hold historical significance in Michigan. They have very unique architectural styles and various designs. There are some very famous lighthouses across Michigan. Um, you have what they call lighthouse keepers, because in order to keep the lighthouse intact and make sure everything is running properly or operating as it should in the lighthouse, you have to have a lighthouse keeper. You have different preservation efforts that are being done present day. And basically, the first Michigan lighthouses were simple structures built in the early 1800s to aid growing maritime commerce. So there was like an industry for a lot of, I would say, like products that dealt with maybe like with the fishing industry, or as they say, maritime, dealing with the different lakes, like different uh, industry related trading when it came to those specific type of maritime products or commerce. That could be with fish, that could be with other things that were related to that industry. um, it was also a technological evolution. So lighthouse designs gradually evolved with the new technologies and materials, enhancing safety and durability. Then we also have the importance of how lighthouses play in maritime navigation. So you have navigational aid and importance. With navigational aid importance, so lighthouses in Michigan warn ships in dangerous reefs and shoals, ensuring safer navigation. Also, we had them being uh, vessels. Basically, well, not vessels, but they were guided to ports, and these lighthouses guided vessels safely to ports, preventing maritime accidents in the Great Lakes that I just mentioned. And it prevented shipwrecks too. So the lights and signals were vital in avoiding shipwrecks and unpredictable Great Lakes weather. And then we have notable historical events involving lighthouses here. Shipwreck rescues. Michigan lighthouses play crucial roles in rescuing shipwreck survivors along the Great Lakes coastline. We have wartime roles. During wartime, lighthouses serve strategic purposes, including signaling and coastline defense support, and then technological milestones, including lighthouses being considered sites of important technological advances in lighting and maritime navigation. And then we have the unique architectural styles and design variations. So the common structural designs were cylindrical towers, and they were common lighthouse structures known for their strong and stable design in harsh weather conditions. You also have, let's see, you also have uh, conical or cone shapes. Conical lighthouse shapes help in effective light projection and withstand strong winds and storms efficiently. And we have skeletal frameworks. Um, these designs provide durability while reducing material use, allowing lights to be raised high above water. And also, you have unique features of different Michigan lighthouses. You have the integrated keepers quarters. Many Michigan lighthouses include built-in living spaces for keepers, providing convenience and protection from harsh weather. You have unusual color patterns. Sometimes you have like distinctive color schemes that will help differentiate Michigan lighthouses and improve visibility for mariners in various conditions. And you also have those innovative lighting mechanisms. So basically, Michigan lighthouses that utilize advanced lighting technology to enhance maritime navigation and safety. And then you'll notice that there are a lot of historic architecture that's being preserved. So there are restoration projects that focus on repairing and maintaining lighthouse structures to preserve their original condition and appearance. You also have historical designations that protect lighthouses by recognizing their cultural and architectural significance through official listings. You have adaptive reuse, which repurposes lighthouses for modern functions while preserving their historic character and structure. Then we have the famous lighthouses across Michigan. So we have the Big Sable Point Lighthouse, and it's situated on Lake Michigan shore, notable for its isolated scenic surroundings. And its historical significance points to the fact that since the late 19th century, it has acted as a vital navigational aid for ships traveling the lake. It has great tourist attraction. Even till this day, it attracts and draw a lot of visitors because of its height, its history, and picturesque location. We also have the Mackinac Point Lighthouse. It's located near Mackinac Bridge, guiding vessels through the narrow straits of Mackinac. Then you have Maritime Navigation Road, which includes the lighthouse ensuring safe passage for ships navigating the challenging waters of the Straits of Mackinac. And then we have museum preservation. Currently, Mackinac Point Lighthouse serves as a museum showcasing the maritime history of the region. And then we have the Holland Harbor Lighthouse, which is called Big Red because of it's literally all red, right? So it's known for its iconic red color. It stands out with its bright red color, making it a memorable landmark on Lake Michigan. And we have the unique architectural shape, and the lighthouse's distinctive shape contributes to its popularity and recognition among visitors and photographers. So people love looking at the style because it's all red, and it has like a kind of like a, it looks like a house or a barn mixed with a lighthouse. So it's very unique, and it's a historical and community symbol. So Big Red represents local heritage and pride, symbolizing the community's connection to the lake and history. So um, now I want to talk about the life and work of lighthouse keepers. So their daily routines focus on lamp maintenance, and keepers usually ensure that the lamp was lit and maintained to provide consistent light for navigation safety. They actually practice lens cleaning. Cleaning lenses was critical to maintain the clarity and effectiveness of the beacon's light. We have repairs and upkeep. Keepers perform necessary repairs to keep the lighthouse functional and reliable at all times. And then you have weather monitoring. So, monitoring weather conditions was essential to prepare for storms and ensure operation continuity. Continuity, sorry. Continuity. Um, we have challenges faced by keepers and families. So, because of these places um, being considered remote in a sense, you have lighthouses that are on lands or in towns that or cities that were considered to be remote. Keepers and families lived in isolated remote lighthouses far from towns and cities. So you had harsh weather conditions, so they had to worry about that being washed ashore or drowning or all those different things. Severe storms, strong winds, challenging weather conditions regularly. What else? Community resilience. It was a lot of strong resilience and close knit families that were formed among these keepers and families, regardless of the isolation. Because when you live in that type of community, it's so small in a sense, you can't help but be close knit and have that support around you because it was those type of conditions can make people want to rely on each other and you know um, how would I say, embrace each other more. Okay, so there are some noteworthy stories and personal accounts, and there are heroic rescues, and a lot of the keepers oftentimes did rescue, save lives during maritime emergencies and storms because being a light keeper, um, a lighthouse keeper, correction, it's like you think about what you call them, a lifeguard in a sense too. Like when a person is drowning, they come to help people, right? So they got a lot of recognition for that, and they also stop a lot of emergencies, or they help pitch in when it came to those emergencies. We have technological innovations, and that included enhanced maritime safety and navigation over time because way back when or back then you didn't have all that technology. It was slowly advancing. They had some stuff that was pretty awesome back then, but now it's way better with the technological innovation and advancement that we have now. And people sacrificed themselves. There were personal sacrifices of the keepers, and it shows how dedicated they were. And they were required to safeguard ships and sailors, as well as the families too, who lived around there. So in the community, even visitors now. So yeah, like I just wanted to talk about that really quickly. And I have something else for us. Just 1 second. Let's see. something else here. Now we're going to get into the haunted part. So, I call these haunted beacons, and we're going to get into the legends and the folklore of Michigan's most mysterious lighthouses, right? So, there are ghost stories and supernatural lighthouse encounters. So, we're going to talk about a few here. Um, Let me see, honey. This one of these hot or lighthouse names are it's kind of, it's very French. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. This is interesting. Siswa. Okay. That's how you pronounce it, Siswa. Point Lighthouse. Okay, we got you. All right. Cuz I'm like, how do you pronounce this? So, we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to talk about the haunted history of Michigan's lighthouses, and it's going to be Pornobrook Lighthouse, Fort Gratiot Lighthouse, Old Presque Owl Lighthouse, Big Bay Point, and Siswa Point Lighthouse. Lighthouses. So those were two different ones. So, as I mentioned before, these amazing lighthouses are positioned along the Great Lakes. That's why you notice a lot of them are where on the mid part, the lower peninsula, that's the mid. The upper peninsula looks like a rabbit to me, and that's what some other people say too. So it's like a hub for maritime shipping and commerce, and these were vital for guiding sailors safely, prevent shipwrecks in the treacherous Great Lakes waters, because the Great Lakes waters the tides can get really, really high, and it could wash a lot of things ashore. So, um, let's go ahead. There were shipwrecks, by the way, and people said that some of the ghosts or the spirits still exist in the waters. Like, there, some people have seen ghost sightings of people walking around in the lighthouses and stuff like that. And this one guy said that his film negatives were showing ghosts and stuff, like apparitions and all types of. He saw a woman moving around and stuff like that, and it was a lot. And I think that was at the Porno Bark. Yeah, the Porno Bark lighthouse. Okay, so, and I was just mentioning that. I was just about to talk about that. When these shipwrecks happened, it caused a lot of the spirits to become uneasy. And a lot of these spirit souls did not rest properly. And when visitors come to these lighthouses, when they go there, they claim to see spirits, feel spirits. They claim to see people walking around, moving around, stuff, shifting on its own. Or like if they left a room or something, they hear a door close or a window shut or blinds, well, not blinds, but curtains open and stuff like that. Some people claim to have encountered some of these souls. Some of the sailors and traders on the while traveling on the Great Lakes, had claimed to have seen and heard voices and spirits and stuff while they were traveling. So, um, because of its remote location in history, a lot of people said that's not uncommon because a lot of danger happened in those waters. So, and considering back then, like a lot of people even said the lighthouse keepers end up becoming ghosts themselves after they so-called passed away, or if they passed away in the lighthouse per se, their spirit is like still there, like inhabiting the lighthouse itself. And they also have the lighthouse quarters, like I mentioned earlier. Some people's souls are trapped there too. Like, some people may think, oh, did somebody start cooking in here or something? I guess, the stove or something may come on or some weird shit. But yeah, it's a lot of things that happen there. And there is an increase of paranormal activity. And some people said they heard women crying before, like, people like just wailing and stuff like that. Um, let's see. So, I want to talk about, because really what I just described is talk about Point Bark, the Point Bark Lighthouse, to be exact. But now I want to move to Fort Gratiot Lighthouse. And it's supposed to be the oldest lighthouse. It was established in 1825, making it Michigan's oldest lighthouse. Um, it had safely guided countless ships through the region for nearly 2 centuries. And its long history has inspired legends and stories enriching local maritime culture. But there have been supernatural accounts of supernatural sightings, shadowy figures, like in the lighthouse. Like I mentioned before, they see mysterious auras and stuff, like light and stuff. Like when you think of aura and chakras and all that, like different glow, like different colors and stuff appearing, like shadowy figures. But maybe if their aura was blue or green or red or orange, pink, or whatever, it was showing around that figure. Whatever energy it holds, the aura color was showing too. Strange noises and unsettling atmosphere, like they may feel like things are moving around by themselves and stuff like that. And they probably, I feel like there also were things about sailors. I think it was a bad shipwreck accident too that happened there, and it caused some sailors and some traders and stuff who was trading, on a lake or whatever, to pass away. And people argue that they could hear them like crying from the lake and stuff, or in the lighthouse they could see people walking back and forth and stuff and turning the light on and shit and off. Or one of these places, they said that it hasn't had electricity in the lighthouse, but the light, something like that, it lights up on its own and all that type of shit. So, Old Press Lighthouse. So, um, it was built in 1840, and it showcases construction techniques from the 19th century. This is a very pretty lighthouse too, and it's a symbol of the region's rich maritime heritage and navigational history as well. It's very unique looking. I like it. There's supposed to be a story about George Paris and the ever burning light. It said that dedication is some type of dedication to keeping light. George Paris was a devoted lighthouse keeper who ensured The light never went out, safeguarding maritime travelers, legend of protective spirit. Some people claim that George Paris's spirit continues to guard the lighthouse, protecting ships from danger even after his death. That's what they say. That his spirit is still illuminating in that space, in that specific lighthouse. Now we have Big Bay Point and Siswai Point lighthouses. Okay, so people who've traveled to Big Bay Point Lighthouse say that it's known for having a haunted reputation as well. And it's famous for ghost sightings, and paranormal researchers and enthusiasts go there to snap photos and try to. I guess they use those, from what I'm understanding. What's those boxes that people use that to communicate with people and stuff, like to talk to the people from the other side and all that shit. Then we have what was that? People saying that they hear sounds and stuff, and it has an eerie atmosphere, and just people just feel very uneasy when they go there, but it's so intriguing to them that they just can't stop going, right? So then we had Siswa Point, and it says Siswa Point Lighthouse is a historic maritime beacon known for its unique architecture and scenic location on Lake Michigan. So there is a captain called Captain Joseph, sorry, Captain Joseph, and they said that his spirit haunts the lighthouse grounds, adding a mysterious aura to its history. So yeah, they have ghost tours, they have paranormal investigations. A lot of people want to see or capture a ghost on film or on their camera lens or whatever. It is crazy, y'all. But yeah, that was crazy. But it was a few more I didn't mention that I want to go back and talk about too. Where is it? Let me type it up this way. Wrap this up real quick. Wait a minute. Okay, this the one. This is the one. All right, so okay, we talked about these. There was some other ones I wanted to talk about. Oh, so these unexplained phenomenons actually, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I think that's what keep these lighthouses attracting visitors and tourists, because of that allure or the folklore that is around or surrounded by them. um People love scary shit, and it seems like Michiganders love being curious and speculating about shit that deals with paranormal or the supernatural. And I feel like this keeps the spirit alive of people wanting to even visit, because it is a part of our history, even though it can be scary at times. We want to preserve our heritage here in Michigan, and we, regardless of it being haunted or not, I think a lot of people just don't really care anymore, about these places being haunted, because they're so historical and unique. Like, you won't find a lot of different, like, places in Michigan are very unique. Like, people love that shit, like lighthouses and all that type of stuff, and historical buildings and their beautiful architecture. People can say what they want about Michigan, but Michigan has some really unique spots to visit. Let's see. I was looking for something else. Um, oh, this is what I was looking for, y'all. Okay, we talked about some of these, but I'm gonna get down to the nitty gritty. This is an article from Pure Michigan, Michigan.org. Is saying meet the keepers who remain within Michigan's haunted lighthouses. And it says, with more lighthouses than any other state, some of Michigan's nearly 120 lights remain home to the restless souls of their former keepers. Wow. Here go a few examples. So they're basically saying, what is it about lighthouses that keeps spirits lingering long after the lights have been extinguished? Perhaps it is an undying passion for the beloved beacons, or maybe it is a tragic loss of loved ones that ties these ghosts to their hallowed grounds. South Haven Lighthouse, South Haven, Captain James S. Donahue. So we have Captain James S. Donahue was a wounded Civil War soldier when he was appointed the keeper of the South Haven Lighthouse in 1874. Having lost a leg in battle, the physical demands of tending were even more taxing for him. Yet, during his 35 years of experience, he is credited with saving more than a dozen lives. Today, the keeper's residence sits perched atop a bluff overlooking the Black River and out to Lake Michigan in a 35-foot red tower. The Michigan Maritime Museum uses the building as an archive and research facility, and many have reported sounds they attribute to Donahue. Footsteps, self opening doors, and eerie sounds are among the unexplainable occurrences. Then next we have the White River Light Station, Whitehall. Captain, let's see, Okay, I wanted to see about that. Okay, so we have Captain William Robinson and Sarah. Some may argue that the White River Light Station in Whitehall might never have been built had it been for Captain William Robinson, who moved to the area in the 1860s with his wife Sarah and seven of their eventual 13 children. A thriving lumbering industry brought them to Michigan from England, and Robinson had hoped he would be able to find work to support his growing family. With the amount of traffic traveling in and out of the White River, Robinson was surprised there was no light to guide their safe passage. He began petitioning the lighthouse service to have a beacon built, and in the interim would hang a lantern on a pole at the end of the channel every night to aid the passing ships. When the light was constructed and lit in 1875, the Robinsons were appointed the first keepers. For nearly 50 years, Robinson faithfully kept his light shining, passing away there in 1919 at the age of 87. Yet he and Sarah are still said to be the permanent residents of the home. While Bill prefers to walk up the spiral staircase to the lantern room, Sarah is said to find peace in an upstairs bedroom where her youngest children slept. Wow. And then we have Shishaw Point Lighthouse, Gulliver, Captain Joseph Willie Townsend. Okay, so we have visitors to Shishaw Point Lighthouse in Gulliver, south of U.S. Was it 2 in the Upper Peninsula? Have been documenting strange activities there for decades. From the pungent odor of cigar smoke to hazy faces in bedroom mirrors and moving furniture, the antics of Captain Joseph Willie Townsend are never ending. Appointed in 1902, his tenure was cut short after he passed away in 1910. Given a remote locale and a time period, the captain's body was embalmed in the basement of the light, and his body laid in state in a parlor for nearly 3 weeks to allow the family the time they needed to trek to the UP, which means Upper Peninsula, to pay their respects. Perhaps that is why Townsend lingers on. Members of the a historical society who maintain the lighthouse complex have collected countless reports, photographs, videos, and other evidence, quote unquote, of the keeper's presence. There's even a book, Spirits at Shishaw Point by Marilyn S. Fisher, which features many of the more noteworthy ghost stories. All right, so um, oh yeah, let's talk about that a little more in depth because I talked about it a little bit, but not a lot. Big Bay Point Lighthouse, B&B, Marquette, lighthouse keeper H. William Pryor, and a few others. Spending a night in a haunted lighthouse may be more than you bargained for, but it's what you get at the Big Bay Point Lighthouse, B&B, located northwest of Marquette. Set along the shores of Lake Superior, the first keeper at this 1896 lighthouse was H. William Pryor. About 5 years into his service, he enlisted the help of his son, George, and as an assistant keeper. However, that arrangement was short lived for both of them. George had an accident which eventually led to his death. The grief stricken father was last seen headed into the woods. It was a year later in 1902 when a hunter found Pryor's skeleton hanging in a nearby tree. What? Innkeepers attribute the slamming of cupboard doors in a kitchen to an angry Pryor. Yet, according to reports from paranormal teams who have visited the light, as many as 5 spirits are present. Wow. Saginaw River Range Lighthouse, Bay City. Keeper Peter Braun and George Way. When Saginaw River Range Lighthouse keeper Peter Braun became disabled and bedridden shortly after his appointment in 1864, his wife Julia was quick to step in and fill his shoes, acting as the acting keeper rather. Following his death in 1873, she remained in a head position and in an official capacity, and her son DeWitt became her assistant. Within a short period of time, Julia married a man named George Way, and she was subsequently demoted while her new husband took the helm. He ended up dying at the lighthouse in 1883, after which Julia and her son left lighthouse service. Today, the property and under restoration is private and under restoration, but those who have had access report hearing footsteps, voices, and other interesting sounds that may be attributed to the two keepers and husbands of Julia who died there. Wow. And also, I want to give credit to the author name is Diana Stampfler, and she lives in Petoskey. Is the president of Promote Michigan. Sorry, whew, getting sleepy, y'all. That was a lot. So yeah, this was a lot, y'all. So and here goes the website, Promote Michigan. So yeah, it's a lot going on here. So, yeah, to make a long story short, that's it, y'all. That's what I have for the haunted lighthouses in Michigan. If you like this, please like, share, and subscribe. And I thank you so much. I hope y'all have a beautiful rest of y'all night. And it's been real. Peace.